He's a pervert but lucky boy. He does 10,000 squats a day during both torrid summer and stormy winter. But in fact, the squat is just his guise, and his goal is to peek at the girls in sexy swimsuits in the gym. What's more, when he is in the shopping mall, he can always accurately break into the dressing room where there are girls changing clothes, and the girls will not be angry at all when they see him, but feel guilty to cause him trouble because they did not lock the door. He also notices his luckiness, and begins to walk straight up to the girls and tease them while in the bath. However, as he is proud and complacent about his achievements, the female president of Athletics Club comes to him with a weapon. What will happen after that? Give this video a like and let's find it out together. The male protagonist Yodo is a high school student. He has some perverted habits, such as peeking at girls swimming. He joins the athletics club so that he can naturally look at the swimming pool while training. For that, he goes training every day. Tsukiko, the president of the club, mistaking him for training hard, nominates Yodo as the next president. Embarrassed to tell the truth, Yodo can only accept this appointment. One day after school, Yodo tells his good friend Ponta about it. Yodo feels that his habit of hiding his true thoughts with lies is what causes this to happen, and he wants to be more honest. Ponta suggests that Yodo can go make a wish to the statue known as Stony Cat in the mountains. Receiving a little gift, the Stony Cat will take away the nature he doesn't want and gives it to someone else who needs it, while he can also get the nature he wants. But once the exchange is completed, he can't get his original nature back unless he finds the one who possesses it. Before, Ponta had the same perverted nature as Yodo, but after he made a wish to the Stony Cat, those perverted thoughts disappeared. Now Ponta has become a saint who only cares about world peace. Yodo is surprised to see Ponta's transformation, so he decides to trust Ponta's words. That night, Yodo heads to the hills where the statue locates. He wants to trade a pillow for the quality of honesty. As he finally finds the Stony Cat and is about to make a wish, he meets a beautiful girl, Tsukiko. Seeing Yodo with a strange pillow, Tsukiko thinks he is a hentai. Fleeing in fright, Yodo catches up with her and explains everything to her. After Tsukiko learns that Yodo just wants to make a wish to the Stony Cat, she is finally relieved. It turns out that she came here for the same reason. Her wish is to become a little more mature instead of showing all emotions like a child. So together they make a wish to the Stony Cat, which really grants their wishes. In exchange, it takes Tsukiko's snacks and the strap Yodo used to secure the throw pillow. After that, Yodo can no longer hide his inner thoughts. Tsukiko, on the other hand, will no longer show emotions, and her expression will remain calm no matter how she feels inside. The next day, Yodo discovers that his new personality brings him more trouble, since he still has those perverted thoughts, which he can no longer hide and keeps speaking them out. The people around him are all shocked and frightened. Just then, he bumps into a beautiful girl, Azusa. A boy is confessing to her, while she decisively rejects him, saying that she will not accept anyone's confession unless he is willing to be her pet. It is rumored that Azusa is from a rich noble family, and that's why she looks proud and cold. No one dares to be friends with her. Witnessing all this, Yodo once again says a lot of obscene words because he can't hide his inner thoughts. And now everyone knows that Yodo is a pervert. Another person who fulfilled her wish, Tsukiko, is also dissatisfied with her current situation. Her expression remains calm at all times, which causes her quite a bit of trouble. Tsukiko then comes up with the idea that if she can find someone who does not need expressions, she might be able to get expressions by making another exchange through the Stony Cat. Yodo thinks it's a good idea, and he also wants his original personality to be back in this way. As Yodo tries to find someone who never shows his true self, he suddenly notices Azusa wearing his belt around her neck, which shows that Yodo's ability to hide his true thoughts was most likely given to Azusa. Yodo deliberately tests Azusa, and sure enough, he discovers that Azusa is obviously lying to hide her true thoughts. To get Azusa to give up this ability, Yodo decides to make her experience its shortcomings. He confesses to Azusa in front of everyone, promising to be her pet forever. Azusa never expects there would really be such a perverted person, and she wants to reject him, but she has claimed to date someone willing to be her pet. Affected by the nature of not showing her true self, she can only say yes. Then, Yodo works hard to be like Azusa's pet dog, which she does not enjoy at all, but to maintain her dignity, she doesn't stop him. Actually, Yodo does all this to make Azusa realize the shortcomings of hiding her true thoughts, in the hope that she will give up this ability. Sometimes Yodo meets with Tsukiko to discuss how to get her expressions back. Today, they meet at a restaurant as usual, only to bump into Azusa, who happens to work here. When she sees Yodo, she feels embarrassed and runs away. they soon find her working in another place, which is a bit confusing, because it's always said Azusa is from a rich family, but she seems to work a few part-times, unlike a rich person. To find out the truth, they invite Azusa to hang out together. During the process, they discover that Azusa is not arrogant, and she is just deliberately pretending to be distant to others. Soon Yodo, Tsukiko, and Azusa become close, but Azusa refuses to admit that she is their friend. Yodo thinks there must be some reason for Azusa to make the wish to hide her true thoughts. If he figures it out, he can try to convince her to give up the ability. Just then, they meet Azusa's classmates from junior high school. However, she seems to have a bad relationship with them, which, Yodo guesses, may be the reason why Azusa wants the nature to hide her true self. So Yodo approaches the girls, asking them what happened to Azusa in junior high school. It turns out that during the graduation trip arranged by the school, Azusa was hurt by her friends. She was absent to learn the notice due to sickness, so her friends were supposed to inform her of the destination of the trip. However, her friends wanted to tease her, deliberately telling her the wrong place. They didn't mean bad, intending to reveal the truth to Azusa when they meet at the airport, but an excited Azusa arrived at the wrong destination in advance. She was saddened to find out that she has been deceived, and she became afraid to make friends. Since then, she has disguised herself as a haughty and distant person. To protect herself, Azusa started wanting the ability to hide her true thoughts. Knowing the truth, he brings Azusa to the Stony Cat, where he explains to Azusa that her friends had no malicious intent. They were just worried that Azusa wouldn't be on the trip, so they named one of her favorite destinations to attract her to the airport. They cheated on her because they wanted to travel with her, so she doesn't need to pretend to be arrogant, and she can make friends normally, which is not terrible. Azusa is convinced, deciding to be her true self. Therefore, she makes another wish to the Stony Cat, gaining her true self back while returning the ability to Yodo. Yodo manages to regain his ability and becomes very good friends with Azusa. Tsukiko sees this scene from the side, feeling envious, which however, doesn't show on her face. In fact, Tsukiko used to be good friends with Yodo. Back in their junior high school, Tsukiko always showed her emotions on her face, which she did not want. Therefore, she wore a mask to hide her emotions. Yodo was her senior, and when he graduated, they promised each other that they would still be good friends in high school. However, when Tsukiko finally entered high school, Yodo didn't recognize her though she had given him a lot of hints. He even forgets about their promise, which disappointed Tsukiko a lot. Lately, she is struggling with one more thing. She has a sister, Tsukushi, who used to be very close to her, but recently, Tsukushi seems to no longer like Tsukiko, deliberately estranged from her. When Yodo walks Tsukiko home, Tsukushi sees them. She mistakes them for a couple, and gets furious. Seeing this, Yodo asks Tsukushi why she worries about Tsukiko being in love if she doesn't like Tsukiko. Tsukushi doesn't answer his question, saying that it has nothing to do with him, and that she is already planning to break off the sisterhood with Tsukiko. Yodo wants to ask why, but Tsukushi becomes even angrier and finally knocks Yodo unconscious. Tsukiko takes Yodo in, and when he wakes up, he is so concerned about Tsukiko, who, though seems to be calm, is actually very sad in her heart. To help Tsukiko, Yodo asks out Tsukushi. He wonders why Tsukushi suddenly distances herself from Tsukiko, and even breaks ties with her. When Tsukushi finally reveals the truth to him, Yodo is completely stunned. It turns out that Tsukushi loves Tsukiko so much that she wants to marry her by breaking their sisterhood first. She then learns of Tsukiko's loss of expression. To help her sister get it back, Tsukushi makes a wish to the Stony Cat. Surprisingly, the Stony Cat takes out the snack Tsukiko brought, which means her ability wasn't given away yet. Tsukiko knows that once she eats the snack, she will be able to show emotions normally. However, she instead asks Tsukushi to eat it, because Tsukushi, who loves her sister deeply, never expresses it, causing a lot of misunderstandings between them. And if she gains this ability, she'll be able to show her emotions better. As for Tsukiko, she'll try to find another way to gain expressions. After that, Yodo comes back home, only to find that his house has disappeared. What's worse, it suddenly rains, so Tsukiko invites Yodo to stay at her place for the night. Yodo has never stayed with a girl for a night, and he is excited about it. While Yodo is taking a shower, Tsukushi suddenly comes to the bathroom door, intending to prevent Yodo, a hentai boy, from taking advantage of her sister. She ties him up with a quilt, and soon falls asleep hugging him. Then, Yodo wants to use the toilet, so he slowly gets out of the quilt. However, he accidentally walks into the bathroom, where Tsukiko is taking a shower. Meanwhile, Tsukushi also wakes up and goes out of the room to look for Yodo. Seeing him outside of the bathroom, she mistakes him for trying to peek at Tsukiko, so she gets furious. Fearful of being beaten by Tsukushi, Yodo immediately flees into a warehouse, where he happens to see his house inside, along with a giant Stony Cat. Yodo guesses that his house was teleported to the warehouse by the Stony Cat. To confirm it, he approaches Tsukushi, who then reveals that her family was said to be descended from from the Stony Cat, which they have worshipped for generations. It is said that this Stony Cat has the ability to directly help people fulfill their wishes and is more powerful than the one in the mountains. However, the Stony Cat may grant the wishes in strange ways, which causes trouble sometimes. Learning of that, Tsukushi speculates that it was Tsukiko who made a wish to have Yodo stay at her house, so the Stony Cat teleported his house here. What's worse for Tsukushi, Tsukiko may have fallen in love with Yodo, since his home is in the warehouse. Yodo goes back again. Just then, he receives a call from Azusa, who is on vacation by the sea. Hearing this, Yodo can't help but say he hopes to see Azusa in swimsuit. In the next second, the Stony Cat in the warehouse grants Yodo's wish and teleports Azusa here. Seeing Azusa showing up in swimsuit, Yodo is finally sure that the Stony Cat does have the ability to grant wishes. Since his wish was granted in an unexpected way, Yodo does not dare to ask the Stony Cat to restore his house to where it was. In the end, Yodo, along with Azusa, has to live in the warehouse for the time being. Tsukushi still worries Yodo will sneak to have intimacy with Tsukiko, so she decides to seduce Yodo herself. If Yodo becomes her lover, Tsukiko is safe. Tsukushi then invites Yodo and Azusa to dinner. During then, she keeps trying to seduce Yodo. This makes Azusa feel jealous because she also likes Yodo. To not lose to Tsukushi, Azusa begins to tempt Yodo as well. As they compete, their behavior becomes bolder, causing Tsukiko to be angry, and they thus have to stop it. But that night, Tsukushi directly comes to Yodo's bed, trying to force him to have intimacy with her. Yodo clearly rejects her, explaining that such intimate behavior shouldn't be happening between them. However, Tsukushi argues that if Yodo falls in love with Tsukiko, causing Tsukiko to leave her, she would like to have the world destroyed. The Stony Cat in the warehouse hears her words, seems to take them as a wish, and immediately begins to destroy the world. The warehouse is the first to get destroyed, so Yodo and Tsukushi have to go back to Tsukushi's house. After that, the Stony Cat suddenly stops destroying, but a strong typhoon still strikes, seemingly an omen of the end of the world. Both Yodo and Azusa can't leave here, so Tsukiko has to let them stay. The typhoon causes a surge in rainfall, and soon they can no longer stay on the first floor. They move everything to the second floor, where Yodo finds a photo of Tsukiko's deceased parents. It turns out they have passed away when Tsukiko was little. Due to the heavy rainfall, the second floor will be flooded soon. Yodo asks Tsukushi to take back what she said yesterday, but Tsukushi tells him she knew the Stony Cat would take her words as a wish, so she has already cancelled it. Just then, Yodo also finds that except for the area around the house, it is sunny in other places. Yodo finally realizes that it was Tsukiko who made the wish. Since she has been living in a huge house with her sister alone, she is always lonely. But when staying with Yodo, she feels accompanied, and to keep Yodo by her side, she made the wish to have him in the same room with her. All the incidents are to trap Yodo here. Yodo then tells Tsukiko that even if she doesn't make the wish, he'll always be there for her. She can always come to his home, but only if she cancels the wish. Tsukiko follows Yodo's words, and everything around is instantly restored to its original state. A few days later, Yodo comes over to invite Tsukiko to his house as agreed. On the way, they meet a pink-haired Italian girl named Emmy, who claims to be Yodo's good friend, but Yodo doesn't remember having a friend from Italy. Emmy loves Yodo, and forces him to take her to his school. Surprisingly, during the visit, she shows her Stony Cat to Yodo. To prove her sincerity to him, she directly makes a wish to the Stony Cat that she wants the school to become the place Yodo likes the most, and Yodo should be the most popular prince. In the next second, Emmy's wishes come true. Many students used to take Yodo as a hentai, but now they all think Yodo is a prince. A girl who used to hate Yodo is even willing to take off her underwear to satisfy Yodo's strange desires. What's more, all the girls are in swimsuits, and when they see Yodo, instead of feeling shy, they greet him happily. Tsukiko believes it was Yodo who would make such a wish, so she is disappointed in him. Seeing Tsukiko sad for it, Yodo feels guilty, and he intends to ask Emmy to cancel her wish. But before that, out of courtesy, he thinks he should recall Emmy's identity first. After searching, Yodo finally finds a photo of him and Emmy in an album, but he really doesn't remember when he met her. Just then, Yodo notices that Ponta is also on the photo, so he calls Ponta asking about Emmy. Ponta tells Yodo that Emmy was a member of a choir. She was in a church here as an exchange member, and that's when they knew each other, becoming good friends. With Ponta's help, Yodo finally recalls some memories about Emmy. Yodo then apologizes to Emmy for forgetting about her and asks her to take back her wish. Just then, Azusa suddenly shows up, but she has been possessed by the Stony Cat, initiating a conversation with him. It turns out that many years ago, Yodo made a wish to help Tsukiko go to Italy, and Emmy will be the one taking her there. That is to say, Emmy's appearance is just to grant Yodo's wish. However, Yodo is confused because in his memory, he didn't know Tsukiko back then. Emmy reacts violently. She doesn't believe she's just a prop created by the Stony Cat, shouting that she wants it to disappear right now, which the Stony Cat takes as Emmy's wish, and is ready to disappear along with Azusa's body. To save Azusa, Yodo suddenly kisses her. The passionate kiss helps her regain consciousness, and thus she doesn't disappear with the Stony Cat. After this incident, Azusa likes Yodo more. As for Emmy, she still follows Yodo's words to take back her wish, and the school returns to normal. But the peace doesn't last for long, as another unexpected event follows. Tsukushi and Tsukiko's grandfather suddenly sends a letter asking them to return to Italy. In the letter, he mentions they grew up in Italy, and have no need to stay in Japan for their deceased mother who they just met once. The sisters get confused, because in their memories, it was their mother who brought them up. More strangely, Tsukiko insists that she was the first girl Yodo knew back then, but it seems Emmy met him earlier, which she feels jealous about, and she decides to figure out who met Yodo earlier. To investigate these past events, Tsukiko makes a wish to the Stony Cat, hoping to go back to her childhood with Yodo. As her wish is granted, they meet and befriend 6-year-old Yodo, who has just graduated from kindergarten, but he often visits his kindergarten teacher, Tsukasa, who turns out to be the mother of Tsukushi and Tsukiko. Tsukasa always warmly welcomes little Yodo, taking care of him like her own son. This time, little Yodo invites his new friends, Tsukiko and the grown-up Yodo, to Tsukasa's house together. Strangely, Yodo in high school doesn't remember these things at all. That evening, they have dinner together in the big house, where, according to little Yodo's words, Tsukasa lives alone. He doesn't want her to feel lonely, so he often visits Tsukasa. Yodo and Tsukiko stay here for one night. The next day, little Tsukiko and Tsukushi also come to visit Tsukasa. They were brought to Italy by their father when they were very little, and they haven't seen Tsukasa since. Until today, Tsukiko misses her mother, while Tsukushi thinks that Tsukasa has abandoned them. Therefore, she argues with Tsukasa soon after they meet, dragging Tsukiko to leave in anger. Unbeknownst to the little sisters, their mother loves them very much. She didn't go to Italy to visit them because she is seriously ill, thus unable to take long flights. Her health condition keeps worsening, and she is likely to die soon. Before the sisters get on the plane to Italy, Yodo rushes to stop them, revealing Tsukasa's illness to them. However, when they are back, Tsukasa is already in a coma. Her illness is incurable, and she is at the last moment of her life. Little Tsukushi and Tsukiko are very sad. They have not yet lived with their mother but are about to lose her. Seeing them crying, a kind little Yodo makes a decision. He has heard about 2 magical Stony Cats in this town. One is able to help people exchange anything, and the other grants people's wishes. Little Yodo decides to give his memories to the sisters who need them more. Therefore, little Tsukushi and Tsukiko acquire memories of Yodo's time with Tsukasa, which keeps them in Japan, and they are unwilling to go back to Italy. Little Yodo doesn't want to change their fate completely, so he makes another wish to the Stony Cat, hoping that when they grow up, they will go to Italy as originally planned. Since then, Yodo has lost his memory of Tsukasa and stops going to her house. Affected by it, he often loses his memories even when he grows up. Yodo and Tsukiko, who time traveled here, get the truth they want and are sent back to their days. Tsukiko finally understands why Yodo has completely forgotten about her. She no longer blames Yodo, feeling very guilty and moved instead. As for Yodo, he doesn't mind her complaint or the loss of his memories, because he has fallen in love with Tsukiko, and is willing to do anything for her. After that, Yodo, Tsukiko, and their friends will continue to live in this town, as will the 2 Stony Cats. I bet they will encounter more interesting challenges and never be bored. That brings the end of the Pervert Prince and the Unsmiling Cat. I think Yodo, though not as noble as heroes in other anime, is a very special boy. He has a lot of shortcomings, such as having those hentai thoughts. But meanwhile, he's a kind and gentle person, willing to sacrifice his memories to help others. It's a tough decision, while he makes it without hesitation. I think that's why there are so many girls in love with him. I have a question for you guys. If these 2 Stony Cats exist, would you make a wish? What will you sacrifice to realize the wish? Feel free to comment your answers below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, and I will bring more interesting anime recaps in the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.